Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member McCall, members of the committee. Thank you for letting members come before you today and testify on their priorities. Today, I'd like to talk about my resolution, H-Res 49, supporting Coptic Christians in Egypt, which has a diverse and bipartisan coalition of members that co-sponsor it. My Democratic lead on H-Res 49 is my friend on Foreign Affairs Committee member Dave Cicilline. My resolution currently has 71 co-sponsors, including 25 from this committee. I introduced this resolution in the 115th Congress following a 2017 trip to Egypt. While preparing for the trip, visiting the country, and returning home, I repeatedly heard about the plight of Coptic Christians in Egypt. Although the Copts have been the victims of numerous terrorist attacks by groups like ISIS, what's most disturbing to me are the attacks against Copts that are carried out by their fellow Egyptians. Most recently in Minya province in Upper Egypt, in late November, a mother and her son were stabbed by a Muslim man while sitting in front of their home after being told that Christians are not allowed outside. Luckily, they were not killed. Sadly, this is a persistent narrative in Minya. The 2018 and 2019 State Department reports on religious freedom in Egypt mention specifically Minya province as an area of concern more than any other province in the country. Also in late November, Rami Kamel, a Coptic Christian and founder of Coptic Christian Rights Organization, was arrested by the Egyptian police and accused of numerous terrorism-related charges. It's also reported that he's undergone intensive interrogation and has been given no legal representation. Unfortunately, cases like this in Egypt are becoming more numerous. Our country and our citizens over the generations have worked mightily to live up to the values and unalienable rights granted to us by God above and enshrined in our founding documents, especially the vocal support of free expression abroad, particularly in the form of advocacy for religious tolerance and freedom, the rule of law, human rights, and education for women and minorities. These are fundamental tenets of our foreign policy. In my work on this resolution here in the House, I continue to give voice to this very American ideal. Likewise, I've met with religious leaders from all across the Levant, from Lebanon to Syria, Iraq, and in Jerusalem, with an eye towards better shaping American and allied support of Christians and other persecuted religious minorities in the region. I have great respect for Egyptian President El-Sisi, and I applaud the changes and message that he's made in the areas of religious tolerance. He continues to say and do the right things at the top level of government, and Egypt is a good partner with the United States. President El-Sisi has a good relationship with the Coptic Pope, attends Mass on multiple occasions, has reconstructed destroyed churches, constructing the largest Christian cathedral in the Middle East in the new administrative center in Egypt. He's held terrorists accountable for their atrocities. However, I believe there is more that can be done. And as the second highest receiver of American military support, the U.S. government must use its tools and hold our allies like Egypt to a higher standard in order to receive our aid. It's in this regard that I believe the one vehicle readily available to this committee to highlight the United States government's concern of the treatment of the Coptic Christians in Egypt is my resolution, H-Res 49. Let's recall President Reagan's admonition as to our responsibility. Respect for human rights is not social work. It's not merely an act of compassion. It is the first obligation of a government and the source of its legitimacy.